Good evening and welcome to East Brandywine Township. Tonight we're going to be holding the East Brandywine Baptist Church Conditional Use Application hearing for tonight's date of Thursday, May 2nd, 2019 at 7 p.m. I'm going to turn this over to Tom Ostie, our solicitor, who will be running this hearing tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As the chairman indicated, we're here tonight to hear the application of East Brandywine Baptist Church. They're seeking a conditional use approval to use part of their property for a school use. The property is at 999 Horseshoe Pike. It's tax parcel number 30-5-88-E. The property is located in the IR Institutional Residential District, and schools are permitted there by conditional use. I have 6 board exhibits to make part of the record. B1 is a copy of the conditional use application dated March 4th, 2019, which the township received on March 12th of this year. B2 is a proof of publication showing that notice of this hearing was published in the Daily Local News on April 17th and April 24th of this year. B3 is an affidavit of Chris Ott, the Township Public Work Department employee, an affidavit of posting that he posted the property on April 24th, 2019. B4 is a copy of correspondence dated March 13th, 2019 from Francis Newhams, the Township Zoning Officer, to Brian Fuller of the East Brandywine Baptist Church. B5 is a memorandum dated March 20th, 2019 from Francis Newhams to Scott Pearsall. And finally, B6 is a copy of the Planning Commission recommendation made at its meeting last evening on May 1st, 2019. I'm going to make those exhibits part of the record. I see that there are at least 3 people here representing the applicant and a few other people in the audience who I don't recognize. There is an opportunity to become a party to a conditional use hearing. You do not need to be a party to ask questions or make comments about the application. The primary reason for becoming a party is in the event you were unhappy with a decision of the board, you would have the ability to appeal that decision to the Court of Common Pleas of Chester County. Parties are also permitted to cross-examine or ask questions of the applicant's witnesses, and they could also present evidence on their own behalf. That being said, is there anyone in the audience that would like to be recognized as a party? Seeing none, I think we can proceed now. Could the people that are here representing the church identify themselves for the record?
Sure, I'm Brittany Lund.
Matt Ostro.
Fred Marsico.
Could you spell all those last names?
So Lund is L-U-N-D.
Thank you.
Ostro, O-S-T-R-O-W.
Marsico, M-A-R-S-I-C-O.
Now, do you all anticipate testifying, or you may?
Certainly us two.
Yes.
Probably Fred if necessary.
Okay, why don't all of you then stand up, please, raise your right hands, and you'll be sworn in by the court reporter.
You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you. And as you can see, we have a stenographer here, and she's taking down everything we say. So it's important that we only speak one at a time, and we try to be clear and loud so she can hear us. That being said, we're ready to proceed. Basically, I think Ms. Lund was here last night, and I think she understands what needs to be done. Basically, you need to explain to the board what you'd like to do on the property as far as a preschool. So you can proceed.
Sure. EBBC is seeking to make disciples for the glory of Jesus.
I'm sorry, can you use the microphone?
How do I use the microphone?
Just pull it closer to you.
Yeah.
Like this? Good. Okay. EBBC is seeking to make disciples for the glory of Jesus. I'm the pastor of students at East Brandywine Baptist Church, and we would like to expand that mission to the into a preschool. And we anticipate LEAP, which is the name of our intended preschool, will give us expanded opportunity to serve children and their parents, particularly in the East Brandywine Township, but also beyond the township. In the scriptures, we see that Jesus has a particularly tender heart toward widows and those with financial burdens. And so we are excited about the prospect of providing scholarships for preschool students, for single moms and or families that would otherwise not be able to afford preschool. Families that are enrolled would also have opportunities to get involved in a variety of other ministries for families through our church. Ultimately, we see this as an opportunity to use our facility and our resources to serve the families in our township for the glory of our Lord Jesus Christ. And just as a reminder, we are a congregationally governed church. So by our bylaws, we are required to vote on this matter on our own. So we come before you today with the authority of our elders to explore this, the possibility of opening a preschool. But ultimately, regardless of the outcome today, our congregation will still have to approve of a preschool by a vote. Nonetheless, we are extremely excited to tell you a little bit about the preschool, and I think Brittany will be able to fill you in on some more of the specifics as our preschool director.
So first, we would like to thank the East Brandywine Township Supervisors for providing us this opportunity to present LEAP Preschool of Chester County as a conditional use for our facility and campus. We presently have a children's ministry at East Brandywine Baptist Church called EBBC Kids that has around 60 to 80 kids attend each Sunday morning. In addition, we host Awana, which is our midweek program that has nearly 100 students every week. We desire to expand our children's ministry through a conditional use of our campus by opening the preschool. We are planning to provide a safe, educational, and enjoyable space. We anticipate being able to partner with the parents of preschoolers in Chester County, particularly in East Brandywine Township. We will have different age groupings as well as options of different days that children can attend. For the morning programs, we have a 3- and 4-year-old class as well as a 4- and 5-year-old class, with the option of going 2 days a week, which would be Tuesday, Thursday, 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or 5 days a week, which would be Monday through Friday. And then for our afternoon programs, we have 2-time options for a multi-age enrichment class, with the same options of going 2 days a week, 3 days a week, or 5 days a week. We also would possibly have the option of doing a summer camp program for the same ages that we would have during the school year. You'll be able to see the breakdown of the ages that are outlined in the packet for you. Our curriculum would focus on the spiritual growth of the children, social, emotional, and verbal development, fine and gross motor skills, music, art, math, science, and reading. Our preschool will not exceed 15 children in each classroom. Each classroom will have 2 adults, 1 teacher, and 1 classroom aide. We take the safety of our children very seriously. Our church currently has a policy put in place that requires everyone who works with children to have all of their clearances. So that includes their criminal background, their child abuse clearance, and if they have lived in Pennsylvania less than 10 years, they need their fingerprinting. But for our preschool, you would need to have all 3 of those clearances in order to work. We have ample parking in our church with 134 parking spots. We have the arrows on the parking lot to help with the flow of traffic. And there's a picture in your packet that would also shows the flow of the traffic pattern that we are talking about. So cars can enter the parking lot from 322 or the side by the community college, and then they can exit from both locations. The cars cannot, however, exit left onto 322. We have a sign there, which I think we just found out that we put there, that says you cannot turn left. So if you would need to turn left, you would exit out by the community college and go to the traffic light. We have roughly, cars would be roughly in and out of our parking lot 3 times a day. So it would be for the morning drop-off time, the mid-afternoon pickup drop-off time, and then the evening or the end of day drop-off or pickup time. And then we would likely have events throughout the year. and which would require additional parking, but we have more than ample parking to accommodate the families. We are also looking to put in a fenced playground in the children's wing that we currently have. We have a door that exits to the, I guess you call it the front of our church.
Sure.
Into a field, and we would have it fenced in with a playground where we would install playground equipment. And this-
You s-
That's-
Real quick,
yeah.
you said 2 teachers and 1 teacher aide per class? Is that what
right,
And then what would a class, did you say the amount of students per class?
and not exceed 15 students.
15.
Yep.
How many classes?
So we have, there are 3 different classes. So we would have the Hoppers class, which is the 3 and 4-year-olds class. So they could go Tuesday, Thursday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Monday through Friday. And then the Jumpers class, which is the 4 and 5-year-olds, with the same options. So we could have a possible of 6 classes.
But they wouldn't necessarily all be meeting at the same time.
Right.
Well, how many classes would be in the facility at one time?
Out
Because you're showing,
3.
okay, you're showing 4 different rooms, yellow, green, red, and blue.
Right.
So I wasn't sure
We
whether.
don't use all 4 at the same time.
Okay.
So if my math is right, it'd be a maximum of 45 children
That is correct.
on site at any given time.
Yes.
Okay.
So what is it? Is it 5 children per adult? Is that what it,
Well, from,
but I'm asking more for the sense of education standing.
Yeah.
The requirements, you mean?
Right.
So it's 1 adult per 10 kids.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Okay,
Up, if you're younger than 3, those guidelines are different. But starting at 3, it's 1 adult per 10 kids. And we would never have an adult alone
Right.
with a kid, so.
Yeah, we currently implement all state required ratios in all of our Sunday school classes and our Awana programs as well.
Got it.
what are the hours of operation? Like, when is the drop-off, the midday,
Yep.
and the end of the day?
So we would have the option of doing early care, so that would be 7:30 to 8:30, with a preschool starting at 8:30, which would go to 11:30. And then our afternoon programs, we have 2 options for the enrichment classes. So that would either go from 11:30 to 3:30 or 11:30 to 5:30. And the children would have to bring their own lunches.
And you anticipate that most of the drop-offs would occur between 7:30 and 8:30?
Yes.
And then the midday is 11 to noon? That's when the traffic, the cars are coming and going?
Right.
And in the afternoon, it could be as late as 5:30?
Yes.
If they choose that afternoon session, the later session?
Yep.
Have you given any consideration to how you might have to enforce the right out only on the 322 entrance exit?
Well, we currently have a sign, like below our stop sign, that says no left turn. But when we were here last night, they suggested us talking to PennDOT and getting a
Yeah, the suggestion
sign.
was that they should go back to PennDOT and make sure their highway occupancy permit for that entrance is sufficient for a school, for the addition of this traffic.
Well, the reason I raised the question is you may be familiar with the entrance on 322 for the community college. And that is actually designed with an island in it that makes it somewhat difficult for someone to make a left-hand turn exiting as well as make a left-hand turn entering. And our experience has been that people still ignore that. And your entrance doesn't have an island design or anything that would keep people from easily making a left-hand turn. And I think, I just have a sense that that may work out on Sundays when there's not quite as much traffic on 322, but during the week, particularly in the morning hours and in the afternoon hours, that could be a problem. And I think, in general, people will go the shortest possible route, even if there's a sign that says you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, I definitely one of those people, and not that makes the left turn, but one of those people that, if there's a shorter route, I'll take it most of the time. So in your experience, if the Delaware County island doesn't work, have you found anything in the township that does work?
I didn't say it doesn't work. I just say even with that physical structure there, people still
Ignore it.
make the turn that they're not supposed to make the left-hand turn in and make a left-hand turn out.
Currently, you have quite a few people making left turns in from 322, correct? Because if
Yeah,
Correct.
memory serves, there's a middle lane there.
there is a middle lane, and anybody who's coming from the west would typically make a left into the church using the middle lane.
So you would not want to prohibit left
True.
turns in.
That's true.
Is there not, it's been a little while since I've been at your church. Isn't there a connection into Delaware County Community College from the side lot?
Yeah, you mean if you look at the image back up to the left? Is that what you're talking about?
So you have the
Yep.
Keats Glen entrance, call it the Keats Glen entrance, and you have the 322 entrance.
Yeah, those are the only
But
entrances.
doesn't the Keats Glen continue on down?
So you can follow Brantwind Drive down to the Delaware County Community College entrance.
So I mean, there's technically three, right?
I'm
So-
not sure that's done much, but
Well, what I'm
Yeah, I don't know of
wondering
anybody
is-
that goes down to that exit, but.
I was just more or less thinking if there was a way to cone off during operations, just the entrance, or just the exit on the one to deter it and try and get the parents on the, I'm just thinking out loud.
It's an interesting idea. The issue that we might face with it is that it's pretty much one lane coming in from 322. And so if we block it off, it might inhibit cars from coming in. And if you look at our diagram up there, cars can come in from, is it Brantwin? Yeah, from the Brantwin entrance. But most of our people do come in from the 322 entrance. So maybe there's a way we could put cones up halfway across or something, or maybe a cone up.
Just
Yeah.
Would you,
That's a good idea. Or maybe put somebody out there as a staff member during pickup, directing
remind
people,
people
just a
to-
reminder.
right.
would you consider making that 322 entrance one-way during specific hours so that
That would work.
when you
Yeah.
had school, people could only come in that way and they would have to go out the other way?
Yeah, are you thinking of something along the lines of, off of Swinehart, there's a neighborhood that's got, during certain hours, you can pass through kind of a thing?
Correct, yeah.
I think we would be open to that during the hours of,
And you're
pick
always
up
going
and
to have
drop off.
people, ignoring it, but for the most part, you're
it'll
cutting that
deter
down.
a good portion. Sure.
But I think if it's one way, it's less likely for people to try to go out and go left.
Right.
And I think that might work out. If, as you say, it's really one lane, you probably don't want opposing traffic.
Yeah, I mean, you could fit 2 cars through. It's just not the width of maybe 322 or Brantwin.
And I've been away from my computer all day, so pardon me if these have been asked last night and I didn't read them today. The 2 other questions I have is, what is the development of Keats Glen? What is there, has anybody been giving any input towards this, towards you guys, or have they been notified via letters?
We haven't done any notifying, but we also haven't heard from them
they were not notified of the hearing, no.
of the hearing tonight.
No.
Okay.
So you,
In a conditional use.
no, I know. I was just curious for this, if they've even been,
Well, but I think your zoning hearing notification has to go out to adjacent property owners. Conditional use,
but I'm still
have the same
thinking that
requirement.
somebody may have, brought it up to you guys to say, hey,
Yeah, we haven't had any complaints from anybody in the area. Nobody's come to us and said that it would be a problem.
Okay.
it looks to me like
Right.
that the posting was done on that portion of the property that's closest to Keats Glen.
It was done in two places, along 322 and facing Brantwood.
So at least there was a
Yeah,
posted notice
Sure.
that people coming out of Keats Glen would have been able to see.
I'm sorry.
No.
Could you explain the drop-off and pickup procedure, whether parents are going to park and then walk their children in, or how you plan to handle that?
Yep. So they have the option of either pulling up to the church, that green rectangle in the front of our building, that would be considered the drop-off spot. So we'll have the teachers there helping the kids get out of the car, and then the parent can just continue on driving. Or if you look, that parking lot that's closest to 322,
The bottom right corner?
yeah, that one right there. That could be the spot where the parents, if they prefer to walk their child into the building, to park. And then we'll have cones set up to make it a safe spot to walk so no other cars go into that area. And they can just walk right into the building.
So it's possible that several cars will stack up behind each other as they're waiting to drop their child off.
Yes.
And am I correct in thinking they would basically back up behind the green rectangle and then out towards 322?
Yes.
That's-
Oh,
And I think that's probably more of a reason that you might want to have one way in and one way out.
yeah, that's a good idea.
Brandon Wallace does it so that you can't let your child out of the car until you're in that little area, and then that person waits the next person. I don't think anybody's gonna be backing up. At least,
Right, no one-
you're not allowed to it.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any
Also
backing
same
up.
setup.
Yeah, just continue straight to exit.
From the brief investigation I did, it looks like religious institutions are exempt from most state licensing requirements.
Yes, they
But
are.
last night, I think you or the pastor indicated that you are applying for some license. Do you know
Yes.
what license that is?
So it is, so it's from the Office of Child Development and Early Learning. It's the application for certificate of compliance.
And do you know if any inspection is done in order to obtain that?
Yes, so we would need, I think
sorry?
all of the property needs to be up to code and all of the buildings, so it would need to be inspected. And
I'm sorry, what office did you say that was?
the Office of Child Development and Early Learning.
Thanks. And have you done any research or investigation to determine what, if anything, has to be done to have an educational use in the building as far as code issues, building code, fire code, access, ingress, egress, those kinds of things?
Yeah, I mean, definitely the exit from the rooms, which we did talk about last night of possibly, doing something with the windows, since we are on ground level.
So what you said last night is it may be possible to remove the windows and put a passage door to the outside, which would only be used for emergency purposes.
Right, either a passage door or they have egress windows, one of the two options for sure. And if we did an egress window, we would make sure it's one that's available and usable for children, small children.
The other thing I mentioned last night was sewage.
Yeah, we'll
Mike?
pass the mic down to this guy.
Yeah, my research. It appears to me you bought 825 gallons per day of sewer capacity.
Correct.
And I was wondering whether you have any water records or other kind of records that show what the usage is today.
We don't have any records right now.
Are you on a well? Are you up?
No, we're on public
You
water.
have public water, so you have water bills that would
Correct.
show your usage.
Correct.
Okay.
And we could obtain them and present them to the township.
So in any event, you understand you'd have to comply with that limitation.
Absolutely.
Or purchase additional capacity, is that the issue?
Well, all the capacity is owned by the community college, the capacity that's left. And some years ago, the church bought 3 EDUs from the community college. Well, they technically bought it from the authority, and then the authority turned the proceeds over to the community college. So I don't know, sitting here this evening, whether there's any capacity available. I suspect that there is. So, well, that'll have to be something that'll have to be a condition of approval if you decide to approve this application. The other thing that came to mind, and we might have mentioned this last night also, is what's your intention on when the church is used as a polling place? Would you close school that day?
Yes, I think we would close school just for the safety of the children.
For both the primary and the general election?
Yes, whenever the church is being used for voting.
I don't have any other questions. Anybody else have questions? You have any questions?
I don't, any other questions, no?
Does anyone in the audience have any questions or comments? Seeing none, we can then close the record of this hearing. I'm sorry, Nate, did you want to say anything? You're in the audience.
I'm good. I think we were both at the planning commission last night. We covered the items we discussed last night, so I think we covered it.
Okay. So we can then close the record, and I suppose we could make a decision at your regular meeting in June. What is that date, Scott? Do you know?
You're talking about the evening meeting?
Right.
I think it may be the 20th, but it's that Thursday.
Okay, then we'll close the record, and the board will make a decision at its regular public meeting on June 20th, 2019 in this room. Thank you.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.